My roommate is an imposter. I first met Kevin last August. My previous roommate had decided to move in with his girlfriend last minute, so I needed to find someone to take over his lease as soon as possible. Luckily, my friend Evelyn was happy to help. I know a guy, she told me over coffee one morning. Well, I don't know him. We met virtually at the online orientation for McKinsey, and we've kept in touch. He's moving to San Francisco, and he's looking for a place. Can I introduce you? I told her that sounded good. After all, this guy was a McKinsey consultant, and he had Evelyn's approval. How big a freak could he be? I gave her the go-ahead, and she set up the meeting. Kevin and I met over Zoom. He was remarkably like me, Asian, just out of college. I'm a recent Cal grad. He'd gone to Penn. He'd been living with his mother in Dallas, but with the McKinsey offices reopening, he was relocating to San Francisco. He seemed perfectly normal, and, besides, time was running out for me to find someone. Finally, I asked, "Do you want to room together?" Luckily, he was more than happy to take over the lease. I sent him the documents, and he signed and returned them within an hour. I waited anxiously over the next few days. I'd never met Kevin in person. What if he turned out to be weird? Or, worse, a serial killer? I imagined him opening my door at night, standing over me while I slept. Calm down, you loon, I told myself, realizing that I spent far too much time fantasizing about serial killers. Kevin's move-in day came, and, around noon, I heard the doorbell ring. "Are you Kevin?" I asked, opening the door. He nodded. "I am," he said, smiling broadly. "Can I come in?" "Of course. Man, it's your place now, too." He walked in, and I showed him around. Not that there was that much to show. Our apartment is a glass shoebox on the 30th floor of a high-rise building. There are modern amenities, European washing machine, Viking appliances, and a nice view of the Bay Bridge. "This is fantastic," Kevin told me, admiring the bridge. "Are you busy today?" "No," I said. "What's up?" "Well, I wanted to buy some furniture for my room. You seem like you have good taste. Care to join me?" I said sure. Kevin had rented a U-Haul, and we drove to the IKEA in Oakland. Thankfully, Evelyn's instincts had proven right. Kevin was warm and funny, cracking jokes as we crisscrossed the aisles of the store. I helped him unpack and assemble his furniture, a bed, a dresser, and we ordered a pizza from my favorite place. "Oh, I almost forgot," Kevin said, standing up and rushing off to his room. He emerged with a package. "I got you a housewarming gift." "You didn't have to do that," I said, genuinely touched. "Evelyn said you liked wine," he said as I opened the package. "This is a $200 bottle," I told him. "What say we crack it open?" He smiled mischievously. "That's what I like to hear." I got up and filled 2 glasses, and Kevin made a toast. Here's to being roommates. The next few months were awesome. Kevin was the perfect roommate. He was meticulously clean, and kept the apartment spotless. He was quiet and respectful, and he was a hell of a cook. I'd arrive home from my software engineering job most days to find him in the kitchen, whipping up some dish or other. I get dinner for free at my office, but, eventually, I began pitching in for half of the groceries, so that Kevin would cook for me every night. Back in March, Kevin told me that he was leaving for a month. "My mom is having surgery," he explained. "It's just me and her, so I want to be around to help her recover. And he's a good son, too," I thought. I wished him well, and told him to text me if there was anything I could do to help while he was home in Dallas. The month that Kevin was gone dragged on slowly. I realized how vibrant he'd made our apartment in the 6 months we'd lived together. Without him, life was a lot less animated, and I found myself growing bored and restless. I counted down the days to his arrival. 2 days ago, Kevin finally returned. "How was your trip?" I asked him, genuinely happy to see him. "And how's your mom doing?" "She's fine," he said. I immediately noticed something different about him. There wasn't any of his usual warmth or charisma. I chalked it up to tiredness, and I told him to get some rest. I asked him if he wanted to get dinner the next day, and he said yes. Dinner didn't go as I expected. Kevin still wasn't himself. It was like someone had sucked all of the energy out of him. He'd always been the one to remind me of inside jokes. When I brought them up, he didn't seem to remember them. I pondered this more as I went to bed. It wasn't just the personality that was different. There were subtle physical changes that I hadn't noticed. Kevin had been kind of chubby before, but he'd lost a noticeable amount of weight. Is it possible to lose 30 pounds in a month, I wondered. And was my brain playing tricks on me, or had Kevin had a tiny mole on his right earlobe? The next morning, I looked closer and saw that the mole was gone. I slept with the door closed last night. I know, because I remember the latch clicking when I shut it. But this morning, the door was cracked open. It was just a hair, so I might just be imagining things. But what if I'm not? I don't know what happened to Kevin on his trip. I'm not sure that it's actually even Kevin who's returned. I tell myself that I'm freaking out about nothing. Maybe he got surgery, liposuction, and a mole removal on his ear. That's normal, right? I feel like I'm going crazy. I'm at a hardware store, and I'm buying a lock.